welcome to this demo. So in this demo, what I'm going to show you is how to perform the same hotspot analysis, but this time using a model builder. So I said model builder is an automated process which allows us to build or like construct multiple processes together, and then enables us to rerun the same analysis over and over without spending the same amount of time. So you can see they have the same data that we use in the step-by-step using the tools, but this time we're going to use the model builder. So on your interface, you can see there's a model builder icon here. Click on that to open up the model builder. All right. Now, one of the things I would like us to do is to be able to save. So first, before we start doing anything, let's go to model and then go to model properties. And then here for the model name, we are going to call it, this is hotspot. So let's just call it hotspot. And then for the label, we can call it hotspot analysis. I can give a description. And then let's go to parameters. Don't do nothing in the parameters, but go to the environment. The environment is where we need to set up all the various components that we want the model to take into consideration. So for instance, a couple of the ones that are very important is like the processing extent. So what you do is check on the box next to processing extent, and then click on values. And then when you come over here, it will give you the processing extent. Click the drop down and then specify it to say you want it to be the same as the police district. All right, and then click on OK on that. Then we'll go into the raster analysis one, select that, and then hit on values. You can see now raster analysis is added to the things that we want over here. So click on that, and then we want to say max that to the police boundary. Remember the last time that is what enabled the boundary to be clipped. Let's see what else again. Here we can set up the output location. So if you remember, when we were running the tools individually, each time we have to browse the output to a particular location. When we are using a model, we can specify the output location, and every file that we are going to create will be written to that output location. So click on values and then go to the workspace, and then the workspace is going to be the database from which you are working. So here, this is the DC crime is actually 2 here, so that will be this guy. And then the scratch workspace will be the same. So select the database and add the DC crime database, and then hit on OK on that. Okay, and now the other one that we want, you can do something like coordinate system, to say you want to check the coordinate system to make sure that the output coordinate system is the same as the input. So you can do that. That means nothing will change on the output. And when you are done, you hit on OK on that, and now you've set up the environment for your model. So as you can see, the model is just a workbench by which we can drag and drop various tools to perform different functions. All right, so the first thing we said in our analysis was that we needed to make a copy of this burglary data, because the integrate tool will actually modify the data. So what we want to do is you want to click on the burglaries and then drag it onto the screen and leave it. All right, so this is going to be your input data that you are going to use to run a specific tool. And the tool we are looking for is called what? Copy data. So we want to go into the toolbox, expand on that, go to features, and here this is your copy features. Click, drag it, and let it go. And then when you do that, we are now going to connect this input data to this process too. So this shape here is the process, and then this is going to be the output. So use this, what we call the connect. So click on the connect, bring it over here, click one on the input, and then double click on the process, and then set it as input feature. Now you can see that the color will change. So everything that is yellow means that is the process, and then everything that is green means the output, and then the blues are the inputs. All right, so here and then here, this is the select too. So click on the select. What we are saying is that we are taking a particular data, okay, from here. We are going to make a copy, and then we are going to write a copy over here. Now you can see that the output, if you double click on the process will show you the parameters. You can see that the output is going to our DC crime database because we specify that environment in the model environment. When we went to the model environment here, we specify the output workstation. So that's why it's writing it to that location for us, so we don't have to do it again. All right. So here, let's just run this too. So if we right click on the process and then you go to run, it's going to run this tool for you. And then when it's done, this is how you know if it's done. When it's done, you are going to see that the process will have a shadow, and then the output will also have a shadow. And what it means is that this is done. If you want the output to show up in your table of content, then what you do is you right click on the output and then you say add to display, and that is going to add that data to your display for you. So now you can see that data is added over there. All right. So the next thing that we did was to say we want to take this output and then we are going to use it as an input for the integrate tool. So what we will do is we'll go to feature class, expand it, bring in the integrate, drop it next to the output, and now this output now become an input for the next tool. So click on connect, click one, double click over here, hit input, and then what we are going to do is we are going to specify just the snapping tolerance, which we set it at 30. All right, or even here, let's just see, let's change this time and do 40 meters, and then hit on OK on that. Now remember, this data here, this tool here does not create an output, it just goes and modify the input. So if I right click and then I run this guy, when it's done, it's actually this data that has been modified, not here. Here doesn't give you anything. That's why it says output features. All right. So the next thing that we wanted to do is, once we have the integrate done, is we need to run a Colette event. So we went into our spatial statistics, and then we went to the utilities, and then we had the Colette event. So if we bring the Colette event over here, our Colette event is actually going to be this guy connecting to this, because this one doesn't do anything. There's no data in there. So we are going to say connect this guy, and double click as this guy as an input. All right, and then we are going to take a look at the double click on it to open the parameters. You can see that it's going in, it's calling it the output name. If you don't want the output name, what it's giving you, you can always change that and just call it what? Say Colette burglary underscore Colette events. All right, and then hit on OK on that. Then what we can do is we can right click on that and then just run that independently. So the method I'm doing over here is I'm just running them one by one, but we could have built everything and then run it together at the same run them at the same time. But here, because this is the first time we're doing it, I want you to run it one by one. And then the output is going to be this is the output. So we can right click on the output and say add to the display. And as you can see, it does the same thing as when we did manually. All right. Now that we have the output, what we said we could do is we can now take this output and then use it as an input for the hotspot zone. So what we will do is we'll go to Spatial Analyst Tools, and then we are going to go to, oh no, actually, hotspot is still under Spatial Statistics. Go to Mapping, Clusters, and then we want the hotspots. Drag it down here, move it, then you can just move this guy, and then use your connect to connect this guy to this as an input. It's not going to change because it's waiting for some parameters. So what you do is you double click on it, and then it's looking for the input field, which is going to be our I count. All right, everything stays the same. We can change the output name and give it something that we want. All right, and now when we run this guy, it's now going to go in and build that hotspot for us, and then we can say right click on the output, add to display, and that is going to give us the output data similar to what we did by this time through the model. All right, so here we can say you can click on a fixed zoom, and then you can see all the workflow that we have. So, and then we took this output and then we use it as an input for the IDW. So now that IDW is under Spatial Analyst Tools. So open the Spatial Analyst Tools, look for interpolation. We are going to use what IDW. So drag the IDW over here. And then this guy is going to be the input for the IDW. And then double click on the IDW. Make sure the Z field is actually pointing to the Z score. All right. And then give it the output name. Hit on OK. And then let's run this guy. And when we do that, it's going to give us an output which we can add to our display, and that will look something like that, which is exactly the same thing that we did. Let's take this guy to out, and now we can go and change our symbology for this guy. So we want the bar linear, that's true. Our symbology, we want a stretch, and then I'll use my color and OK. And now you have the same work that we did now using a model. And this is the process that we have to do. So think about it. A model means that if I have another set of data, I can just put that input data, and then if the parameters are going to be the same, I can rerun the same thing without having to repeat each process one by one. All right. So here, let's actually try this. Let's go ahead and say delete intermediate data. All right. And now, so you can see there's no shadows. And if there's no shadows, means that nothing has run. So what we can do is I can just go out here and then say run, or I can go over here and say run the entire model. And what it's going to do is it's now going to go through each of those processes and then run everything. And then when it's done, it's going to give us the complete. So here, let me add it back to, you can see it run everything, and then it gave us the outputs. And then we just have to change this back to stretch, change my colors, and we have the same results. So you can see we can run it individually, or we can just build the whole logic, all the tools that we need, and then be able to let it run. So what I would like you to do is practice this, and then I'm going to send you some data, some point data, and then you are going to use the same method to generate another hotspot for us. But this is how to perform a hotspot. These are the steps involved in performing a hotspot. If you happen to work with police or fire, the data I'll give you in the assignment is actually for fire. And then obviously I'll give you another example online to help you with the model and analysis. So all right, Bye.